Hi, this is Brad with Copper Creek Cuts, a lawn care company in Northeast Florida. The news of DeWalt's electric battery mower. Electric battery, is that redundant? Their mower caught on fire at the GIE Expo. I do think it set battery technology, the acceptance of it, back a year or two. But today I'm going to share my experience with battery equipment and my recommendations. One for homeowners, two for commercial guys, and then I'm going to show you my setup, which involves Toro equipment and then also a Zendure power bank. If you're a homeowner wondering if you should get battery technology for your lawn care, I would say if you have less than an acre, I would strongly urge you to get battery technology. It is there for everything you need if you regularly maintain your yard. If you're only going to cut your yard once a month, battery may not be the way to go. If you're a homeowner with, let's say, between half an acre and an acre, look at battery equipment first. But it may not be for you. It's going to depend a lot on your property. If you are a homeowner with more than an acre, unless you really like push mowing or unless you're really ready to plop down some money on a battery zero turn or a battery lawn tractor, I would say gas might be the better option for you. If you are a commercial guy looking at adding battery power, I'm not sure mowers are there yet because of their expense. You really have to factor in the cost of maintenance and gas over the life of a machine. You can't just look at the purchase price. If you're somebody who's starting off part-time, you're not going to be running the machine long enough to see that cost savings, and I think a gas zero turn is a better choice for you. Anybody who does any kind of leaf cleanups, electric leaf blowers are not there. Even the commercial ones. They're not there for people up in the Northeast who leaf cleanups is a big part of your job. You know, you've got 3 or 4 guys on blowers for hours all day long. It's not there. If all you do is blow off very small driveways 2 minutes at a time after you're done with weekly maintenance visits, and that's what your business looks like, battery blowers might be there for you. But again, it's going to depend a lot on you. As far as string trimmers and edgers, again, I think for weekly or even every other week maintenance, the power is there. It's just going to depend on how much you invest in batteries and a charging system. This part of the video focuses briefly on what I use in my setup. So I have one electric power base that powers all of their attachments. Unfortunately, they don't have a commercial version of this yet. This is a residential version. For what I do, it is still held up, but I'm only a couple months in, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Articulating hedge trimmer, pole saw, string trimmer, the edger attachments right over there, and the tiller attachment. Have not used the tiller. I have no clue how good it does. I'm assuming it chews through battery similar to that Echo bed redefiner. The articulating hedge trimmer, the pole saw, the string trimmer, the edger, they all work great, just like you would expect a gas one to work. This is a Zendure SuperBase Pro. It's basically a giant battery. Before I had this, I would burn through my 2.5 amp hour batteries, which are my small ones, and then I'd have to switch to these giant 8-pound, 7.5 amp hour batteries. This was definitely enough battery to get me through one day. I'm a solo guy though, so I'm the one who's driving, then I have to mow, then I string trim my edge, I use the blower, the gas blower. That's gonna be a lot different if you have a crew of 2 or 3 guys that are all using battery equipment. This power base is something I was sent about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I've been using it in the business, and what it's essentially let me do, I haven't had to touch those 7.5 amp hour batteries. If you put the money down for one of these charging systems or a battery system, you can get away with buying fewer batteries because now you can charge throughout the day. You do have a nice carry case for all your cables. When you open that carry case up, you'll see a USB-C to USB adapter. You have an AC cable, which is about 1.5 meters. Here is a 3 meter MC4 to AC cable, and here is a 3 meter MC4 to XT60 cable. These are the cables that you're going to use if you incorporate solar power into your setup. Quick guide, warranty card, some stickers, and then of course your power base. Here on the front you have USB-C and DC outputs as well as an LED light. Not too much going on in the back of the machine. You can see the wheels here, the telescoping handle, makes it like a suitcase roller. On this side you have some venting up top and your inputs. Starting from left to right you have an overload switch, an XT60 input, an AC input, and a grounded screw The other side of your vent is here. One draws air in, one pushes it out. You have 6 grounded AC outputs in different orientations. And down here in the bottom right is a 12-volt DC car output. Pricing information is going to change. Whatever the most current pricing information for that is will be down in the description. There's a couple talking points that make this something you'll need to consider whether or not it works for you. First is how fast does it charge? If you have maximum input, this will go from 0 to 80% in just 1 hour, which is a lunch break. Now the catch with that is it has to be plugged in to a solar bank and it has to be plugged into an AC outlet. I just had an AC outlet and I think that's what you guys would normally have if you used it. So here's my numbers on how it did there. It gained a little bit more than 10% every 10 minutes of charge. It was pulling amps really fast, around 1800 amps is what it pulled. And here at the 1 hour mark, I'm at 66%. But you'll notice that the amps start to slow down a little bit. So now here, an hour and 20, I hit almost 80%. An hour and 30 minutes, I'm still at 80%. An hour and 42 minutes, I'm at 82. So it does go to a much slower charging. You can use this as a UPS or an uninterruptible power supply. I'll demonstrate that in this clip, but basically it means that if you have something plugged into this power bank and then the power goes out, it will take over and supply power to that. So it'd be really good for hurricanes, powering refrigerators, other items like that where you have to have them on no matter what. Up to 4,000 watts of surge power is what the specifications say this is capable of. 3,000 watt continuous is the max that it is rated for. So it can power some pretty high energy devices. You like the idea of camping with some electricity, this would be something that would be a good fit for you. Taking this lets you power a whole bunch of things that otherwise you would have to have a campsite with electricity for. I want to say it's near 40 pounds, so it is not super light. That's to be expected with batteries, but it does have wheels and a telescopic suitcase handle, as well as another little handle that you can use to get it where you need to relatively easy. There are different versions of this machine, so you can get a US version, a UK, an Australian, a European version. The difference is going to be the plugs, right, that you can use for that. So depending on which one you have, you can use this in quite a few places. All right, so there's the power bank loaded up for its first day. You can see we're at full charge. Here's all the batteries I've got. 1, 2, 3, 2.5s, and then 1, 2, 3, 7.5s. So our first stop for the day is 3 houses that are all right next to each other. And after all that time, I use this for the edging and the string trimming. We're down to 25% or so of one of our 2.5. So what I would normally do is just swap out. Now I've got a new battery, but today we're gonna try and see how this thing works. So we will plug that in. This is on, I just turned that on. We're gonna turn on the AC side of things. There we go. All right. So we'll leave that there. Pulling 214 watts and we could keep this up for about 9 hours. So we'll see how it lasts over the course of the day, but pretty excited so far to not have to use those heavy batteries at the end of the day. After my next yard, I had a lot more string trimming, so now I've only got 50% battery. My first one is charged and it looks like it took 5% of the battery. So now I'll swap that full one. We'll put in our half charged one. And again, it'll start ticking up on those watts. All right, another 2 yards and we've got another battery that is at 25 maybe? Let's see. Well, half. But no need to push it anymore. I used to would run these until they died on somebody's yard. And then, I'd have to go do a walk to the truck. But this is much nicer. You just do a quick swap on the way to your next job site. Now we're down to 90%. All right, so that was a short day. We just had about 15 or 20 minutes of rain that soaked everything good enough that, mowing on the yards would just make a complete mess of them. We'll continue the story and see how it lasts over the rest of the next day. And so the next day has begun. We've got 3/4 that we're gonna pop on. Holding this down to turn it on. We're at 86%. We turn on our AC. All right, swapping out at 25%. So this one that I'm pulling out, it barely had anything to charge. Just pulled a couple percent. And it's a good thing I brought a couple chargers, because down to 25%. This yard has a ton of string trimming. There's a pond in the back. They also have like a little play area that it used to have a play set but doesn't anymore, but it's all fenced in and railroad ties, so I can't mow it. But I got a string trim the whole thing. I've got, well, you won't be able to see it, but I've got the house over there to do too. And this guy's, well, he's about full. Not quite at 100%, but since we have the second charger and we want to test this thing, let's just go ahead and plug it in. Because again, I've got 3 of the 2.5 amp hour batteries. So I can have 2 on the charger and be using one. Make sure I got the right one. Yep. And there goes that one. Now let's see how many watts it'll pull with 2 of them going. I wonder if it limits itself. Same yard, my new battery, just finished string trimming and edging the second yard. Yeah. And now, since that one's done, we'll put this one in the fast charger and this one in the slow charger and this one in the machine. We're down to 77. I think this thing would last a long time. Even if you had a crew, I feel like it would last a solid day, you know, power and all the batteries you have. Of course, that depends on what batteries and how big, but it's working fine for me so far. All right, down to 70. I think both of these are charged. Yep, they're both charged. And here is our very first completely dead battery. I ran that one all the way down just because I was right next to the truck, so it wouldn't be a long walk to fix it. All right, so we'll see 70%. We'll see what a fully dead one does. So now we're down to 61. And we have another dead battery. So for some reason, I'm not putting out very many watts. I just came back to my rapid charger. We're only at 1 battery. How long ago did I put this thing on? Why are we only outputting 50 watts? I wonder if it's a heat thing. Anyways, I'm down to half on this one. And I got 2 houses next to each other. So I want to swap out. So now we've got both of them going. What are we pulling? Now we're pulling 140 watts, which is better. I think some of the fans coming out here. Oh, maybe I'm blocking the inlet right here. I think one of the inlets is right here. All right, so I don't know if that did anything, but we'll see. One thing I want to make clear, I don't care whether or not you use battery equipment. For some reason, if I ever make a video on battery technology, I think people think I'm like challenging their preconceived notions of gas. I don't care if you continue to use gas. You're the one who has to decide whether or not it's a good choice for you. I know for me, battery technology is a good choice for the handheld side. It's not a good choice for the mower or for the blower at this point in time. So everybody's got to make their own decisions. The whole point of this video is just to give you more information than you had before so you can help make those decisions. So after 4 years or so of experimenting with battery technology, this is my current setup. It's what I'm going to be using heading into the 2023 season, unless something changes, which it may with new technology. Something new is always coming out. If you've got any other questions, please let me know. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it.